And now I'd like to introduce our speaker for today with the Clean Energy Project Nevada, Jennifer Taylor.
Thank you, Danica. Good morning, everyone. I am the Executive Director for Clean Energy Project. Happy Friday, and thanks so much to the Chamber for inviting me to be part of WebU series again this year. Last year, my presentation dealt with greening your business and the benefits of corporate social responsibility for each of your businesses, whether small or large. This year, I'm going to broaden it a little bit and give you an overview of how leading innovative companies are integrating renewable energy and sustainability goals into their business practices, how they're looking to do business with states that mirror these values, and some of the policies being discussed in the legislature this session that may create the right environment to attract these forward-thinking companies to our state, and finally, how all this fits within the governor's vision for a new Nevada. CEP is a 501c3 advocacy organization with deep roots in Nevada's clean tech revolution. We are Nevada's premier advocacy organization to educate civic, community, and business leaders on the importance of smart, forward-looking energy policies that strengthen the state's economy and improve its environment. We are the business voice of Nevada's clean energy economy. We have nearly 500 businesses in Nevada that support comprehensive clean energy policies. We have more than 125 local small businesses implementing efficiency measures to reduce their carbon footprint. Those businesses can be found on our website at our Green Business Guide, and if any of the businesses on this call are interested in learning about the Green Business Guide, we would love to talk to you about that program. We also have broad corporate support, including NV Energy, First Solar, Sempra, Toyota, UPS. We're a trusted voice on the clean energy policies, having been part of the governor's new energy industry task force and a member of the Las Vegas City Manager's Energy Advisory Committee. So part of the reason we talk about energy with small businesses, and I'm sure that you all know this as chamber members, but small businesses really are the engine that drive Nevada's economy. The U.S. Small Business Administration's 2016 Small Business Profile said that in 2013, Nevada's 238,162 small businesses employed 428,000 people, or 40.9% of the private workforce. Additionally, from polling that we saw last summer, we know that our small business voices are highly trusted and respected voices on issues including energy. The slide that you're looking at right now references the Brookings Institute, which is a think tank that in 2011 did a study for the state to talk about what might be ways to drive and diversify our economy following the Great Recession of 2008. What's great about Nevada is that energy and economic development have been very bipartisan issues. And our governor, Governor Sandoval, has really led on energy leadership and on moving our clean energy economy forward. He recognized the role that the development of clean energy and clean tech can play in Nevada's economy, and in early 2016, he executed a number of documents defining the Silver State's path to a clean energy future. He's also recognized the need for energy portfolio diversity, and I'll talk about that in a second. Also, he's got some very innovative programs through his Office of Energy that help lead the coordination with economic needs through the Governor's Office of Economic Development to secure Nevada's leadership role in renewable energy consumption and exportation and energy efficiency. So let's talk really quickly about a couple of those documents from last year that the governor executed. First was his reinstituting the New Energy Industry Task Force, and the charge to that task force was encouraging development of clean energy sources and integrating renewable energy technologies into our energy sector, modernizing our grid, and then supporting distributed generation and storage with a specific focus on the energy topic of last year, which was rooftop solar and net metering. He also executed a strategic framework for Nevada for 2016 through 2020. A couple of the pieces in there that focused on energy as a piece of this strategic vision were that Nevada would become the nation's leading producer and consumer of clean and renewable energy. By 2020, we would complete an electric highway system serving the entire state, and the electric highway and electric vehicles are a topic that I could do a whole other WebU on because it's really fascinating stuff, and the governor's vision on that is fantastic. Additionally, we would significantly reduce our percentage of imported fossil fuels over the next 10 years, and reduce our carbon emissions to a level at or below accepted federal standards. And then part of that strategic framework would also be to create jobs in the clean energy sector, which supports millions of jobs. At count right now, 8.1 million jobs worldwide, 300,000 jobs in U.S. wind and solar, and then energy efficiency accounts for about 1.9 million jobs. So when you look at what the governor talked about in his State of the State, one of those things was workforce development, and we know that there are good paying jobs to be had in clean energy. A lot of those jobs come from small businesses, and helping to implement the governor's vision for workforce development means integrating clean energy into that. Finally, we see that the PUCN, after the net metering ruling of 2015, has been working to align regulatory policy with the governor's vision. In 2016, the new chairman, Joe Reynolds, indicated that Nevada was at a crossroads where traditional thinking is colliding with new technology and disruptive business models, and that we need to have new ways of looking at old energy problems. And all of that is great for Nevada because it lets us lead on these innovative policies, innovative technologies, and lets us work to economically diversify and develop. So in that study that Brookings did, they identified key sectors of economic development, and you'll see them listed here on this slide, and one of them was energy. We know that energy drives everything that we do. You turn on your light switch, to powering your computers, to running our air conditioning. If we don't have energy, the state doesn't function. And so how do we get the best energy, and how do we have companies looking to us for our energy policies? I'm going to talk about those logos there at the top of that slide in a minute, but let me just briefly talk about business sustainability goals. And this kind of ties into what we talked about last year, which was how a lot of businesses are looking at corporate social responsibility and putting those programs into place as part of their business practices. Why do they do this? It's not just about corporate social responsibility aimed at being a good steward. It's because of the economic opportunities that come along with a robust corporate social responsibility program. It saves money on power bills, and it provides optics for customer expectations. What we talked about last year in WebU was that people show support for companies that mirror their values through their wallets. And then in turn, what we're seeing is that these large companies are rewarding the smaller companies in their supply chain that can mirror these values. So if you've got a small business corporate social responsibility program, or you have sustainability goals, you have a leg up competitively for these larger companies to be part of their supply chain. And more importantly for Nevada and its economy, these large companies are starting to reward states that create opportunities for them to meet their sustainability and renewable goals. A couple of things just to think about in terms of where you see these consumer-driven programs. If you look at Leaping Bunny, that's the brand that lets you buy products that haven't been tested on animals. If you look at Human Rights Council, they grade businesses that support LGBT rights. This is something that's becoming more and more prevalent with millennials in particular. And again, as I said at CEP, we have our own small business corporate social responsibility program that lets consumers know that you support clean energy and have taken steps to reduce your energy footprint. Nevada leads, and you may or may not know this, but we lead the nation in geothermal and solar development potential. And we have an opportunity really to diversify our existing energy mix at the governor's direction and through his vision. 82% of Nevada's electricity is generated using natural gas or coal. And I know that sounds amazing given how much sunshine we have and given how many rooftops you see with solar on it. So that means that with 82% coming from natural gas or coal, our clean energy potential really isn't being met because we only have about 18% of our electricity coming from renewable resources. Something else that a lot of people don't know, I usually take surveys when I'm in person, is that Nevada doesn't produce any of its own natural gas or coal, so it has to be imported from neighboring states to power our homes and businesses. That is about a $600 million economic leakage out of our state to import that fuel, and that doesn't even include the fuel for vehicles. So we really have some opportunities to bring that money back into the state. So each of these corporate logos on this slide represent a company within each of the governor's key sectors from that Brookings report that has specific renewable energy goals. Google and Amazon each purchase more than 1 gigawatt of renewable energy every year, with Microsoft, Facebook, and Walmart following close behind. here's some stats to support what we were just talking about. You can see that huge numbers of Fortune 100 companies and a good number of Fortune 500 companies are now looking at renewable energy targets, sustainability targets, or both. And it's not just the companies that are demanding this access to clean energy. We're now seeing the finance sector increasingly concerned about climate change and taking on actions to make sure that portfolios and financial investments take into account climate change impacts. And they're doing that even in this highly uncertain policy environment. In September of last year, BlackRock, which is the world's largest asset manager, said that all investors should factor climate change into their decision-making and that doing so would not mean having to accept lower returns. BlackRock has begun enhancing its data analysis to reduce risk assessments on investments by calculating emissions as a percentage of the company's sales. And what all that means is that what BlackRock is doing is they're looking at how companies that cut their carbon footprint perform better than peers who do not make those same changes. We've heard a lot about bringing back coal, but what we know from some of the leading energy utilities in the country is that coal really is not necessarily going to make a comeback regardless of policy changes, because what we're seeing at the state level and what we're seeing at the corporate level is that our energy systems are going to continue to be driven by a continuing desire to decarbonize, led in fact by some of these companies. What you see on this slide are some quotes from some of those companies that we would love to have here in Nevada as part of the governor's vision for a new Nevada. Let me talk to you a little bit about Microsoft. Well, first let me just say, what I've been talking about essentially is that the business drive for renewable energy means that states with the most to gain are those states that let corporate America make its own decisions on its energy purchases through things like direct access to renewable resources and advanced energy. When Nevada's energy policies mirror the core values of the companies we want to attract, it is a win-win for our state. Innovative, robust clean energy policies signal to companies like the ones that we've been talking about that Nevada is open for business, private investment in clean energy development, and resulting economic growth. This type of investment and resulting economic growth will help all Nevada businesses through job growth, additional income into the local economy, and additions into our economic portfolio. There was a great article in All Tech Considered in July of last year from Microsoft talking about the challenges that it had had in Wyoming because it wanted direct sourcing to renewable energy. And Wyoming is a coal state with coal as one of its energy sources in state, wasn't able to provide Microsoft with what it wanted. Brian Janis, and there's a quote from him on that slide, basically said that direct sourcing was important because it was part of their business practice, business model, and that they were willing to use their corporate leverage to influence policy. So we here have an opportunity now in the state to go ahead and put those policies in place. They're going to bring these companies to Nevada. With the shift of administration in Washington, there was some concern that clean energy would stall. However, we have heard repeatedly that the corporate train has really left the building. And I love this analogy from Amy Myers-Jaffe at the Energy and Sustainability Center for UC Davis. She said, if for the next 4 years this administration announced that everyone in the U.S. would be going back to a landline and no one could use smartphones, it wouldn't slow smartphones. All that would happen is that we would waste a lot of money on landlines. But truly, what this is a jobs issue. It becomes a competition issue. It becomes a national security issue. So even if we make a detour in the development from an administrative perspective on clean energy development, it's just a detour because the train has really left the station. So let's talk a little bit about what Nevada, a state again with no fossil fuels that are indigenous, that are being used to power our homes and businesses, has done in terms of renewable energy development. You see right here a slide that talks about how much investment has come in, what the jobs that have been created since 2011, and the governor talked about this in his State of the State. These are utility scale programs that have come through the Governor's Office of Energy's abatement program, and you see the second bullet on this slide talks about Silver State South. Now, a lot of people say, why don't we use our renewable energy in our own state? it's okay that Silver State South is exporting to Southern California because every economy wants something that it can sell. It brings money back into the economy, and there's still opportunities, lots of opportunities for us to develop for in-state use. Let me just talk about this Silver State South program project. It was under the Governor's Office of Energy Tax Abatement Program, and it brought the following benefits to Nevada. There was a total capital investment of $385 million, providing $9 million in school support tax, $30 million in property tax to local governments, construction payroll of $21 million, operational payroll of $5 million, for a total set of benefits of about $451 million over an abatement period where taxes were abated, sales and use taxes were abated for 3 years, and property taxes were abated for 20 years. That abatement amount was only $58 million compared to the $451 million that came in. So we had an opportunity to take advantage of developing this project for Southern California and get all of those tax, payroll, and other benefits. So what can we do with renewable energy in the future as we move forward? We know that we've got about 2,900 megawatts right now of power in Nevada that is renewable and that powers both Nevada homes and businesses, as well as being exported. There's estimates from the National Renewable Energy Laboratories indicating additional substantial benefits from an aggressive and innovative set of targets on renewable energy. And we down here in Southern Nevada talk all the time about solar. So at the bottom of this slide, you see something that says Forge finalist. Forge is something I just want to just tell you a little bit about because it's one of those things that also can help develop economic benefits in our rural counties. So Forge is the Department of Energy's Frontier Observatory for Research in Geothermal Energy. It'll be a dedicated site where scientists and engineers work to develop, test, and accelerate breakthroughs in enhanced geothermal system technologies and techniques. Again, Nevada has the greatest potential for development in geothermal, but we're second in production to California. So the development of this site was a competitive process, and Nevada is now one of 2 finalists. So even in a position where we're one of the finalists for this R&D project, we are still getting about $29 million in seed money to fully equip, test, and certify these research and development labs for the competitive final phase of Forge, where the actual headquarters for this research effort will be located. The team for Forge includes ORMAT, which is a Reno-based geothermal development, and the University of Nevada, Reno, which is a great opportunity for UNR to be able to increase its profile as a national R&D higher ed facility. And again, it's all about bringing all these different opportunities to Nevada, both in the north and the south. All right, let's talk about some of the policies you may hear coming out of the legislature this session. And I'm going to try to leave some time for questions, so forgive me if I run through this quickly. Renewable Portfolio Standard. This is a standard that basically says our utilities have to procure a certain amount of energy from renewable sources each year. It was enacted 20 years ago. Nevada was the second state nationwide to adopt it, and we were seen as a clean energy leader. It helped drive investment of those 2,900 megawatts in our homegrown clean energy. But it's really time for Nevada's RPS to be updated so that we can maintain our state status as a clean energy leader and ensure we develop our rich renewable resources, create thousands of good Nevada jobs, and keep some of those energy dollars here in the state as opposed to sending it out of state to buy natural gas and coal. Our current policy, just so you know, says that we need to get 25% of our energy from renewable resources by the year 2025. We can use energy efficiency to meet up to 20% of that requirement, and some of the energy efficiency measures that can be implemented we talked about last year. And then that energy efficiency target will taper off down to 0% available to use against the RPS in 2025. Really quickly, one of the concerns with this status quo, because that sounds great, is that our RPS has not been changed really since 2009. And so other states have been aggressively increasing their targets, leaving Nevada behind. And as a former leader on this set of standards, this is an opportunity for Nevada to step back up. Since 2009, costs for renewable energy, especially solar and wind, have fallen so dramatically. Our grids have been modernized so that they can handle large amounts of renewable energy. A robust RPS will really drive new renewable energy development, secure Nevada's transition toward clean energy resources, and ensure that Nevada's electricity bills are spent on homegrown resources, bringing us in-state jobs and economic development. Again, this also continues to move towards the governor's vision for Nevada to be a leading consumer and producer of renewable energy and help our Office of Economic Development attract new businesses to Nevada, many of which have corporate sustainability commitments. And at the bottom of the slide, you can see the bill that is moving forward on an RPS increase. The first hearing on that bill is on Wednesday at 3 p.m. in the Assembly Commerce and Labor Energy Subcommittee if you're interested in tracking it. The next issue that we're going to see come through the legislature this year is energy efficiency investments. According to a report from environmental entrepreneurs, energy efficiency is one of the biggest job sectors, as I said, employing more than 1.9 million Americans. Small business employees really are the vast majority of the workers in these programs. Energy efficiency jobs can grow out of traditional construction and home improvement jobs and can include value chain areas like installation, trade, manufacturing, and professional services. Employment sectors can include traditional and high-efficiency HVAC, efficient lighting, Energy Star appliances, advanced materials and insulation, building improvements like efficient windows, energy-efficient design, and a lot of other areas. And just it's worth noting in terms of air quality that the cleanest and cheapest energy you ever use is the energy you don't use, and that's why energy efficiency provides so many opportunities for reducing our energy load and providing opportunities for jobs. Nevada currently ranks 37th in the nation for energy efficiency programs and policies. And what these two bills that you see at the bottom of this slide, AB 223 and SB 150, hope to do are improve this ranking, establish an energy savings target called an energy efficiency resource goal, and increase Nevada's ranking. And again, the first hearing on AB 223 was on Wednesday, and the first hearing on SB 150 will be today, Friday the 3rd at 1 p.m. And finally, I would be remiss in terms of talking about policies you may see if I did not talk a little bit about the, again, energy subject of last year, which was rooftop solar. I think most people have heard about rooftop solar. Just as a note, I'm always available to any chamber member as a resource. So if you ever have a question about any energy issue, since I'm trying to really high-level this, you are more than welcome to call me, email me, reach out to me, and I can talk you through anything that you're curious about. So rooftop solar, you know, there was the issue of whether or not, what value the rooftop solar provided to the grid and how much people that were sending energy into the grid should be compensated for that energy back from the utility. That was really the big battle last year. In addition to the fact that folks that had existing rooftop solar systems were not allowed to continue under existing rates and structures under the contracts they had entered into with NV Energy. Whenever you have a policy shift that disrupts contracts, that is a very problematic thing for a state because it means that investors look at Nevada as a place that may not have policy security and stability, and that doesn't help our economy. What was great about last year in the summer, once things really kind of dusted up, was that the PUC did act at the behest of the utility, NV Energy, and reinstitute the rates for those who had existing contracts under the rooftop solar policies, so that they would get the benefit of their bargain and the benefits of their contracts. What we're probably going to see this session, and there's not been a bill come out yet, but it will either be something to talk about the cap on how many rooftop solar systems can be put on, the rate at which the rooftop solar systems may be paid back for the energy they put into the grid, evaluation of what the benefits are to the grid from a rooftop solar system. That is actually a Public Utility Commission docket that's moving forward right now, or establishing a minimum bill so that anybody who has rooftop is never at a point where they're just getting credits and not paying for their piece of the grid. And again, this, I'm sure once a bill comes out, will be a big discussion at the legislature. The other thing that is available for discussion this session is the community solar bill that Senator Dennis and Senator Spearman have been working on. And what community solar would do, and you see a bunch of happy faces in front of a big solar array here in this picture, is it provides more access to solar energy for folks who can't install personal systems on site, whether it's because they rent, their condos won't let them, they don't have the right credit score, they don't have the right configuration, they don't have enough sun hitting their roofs. And believe it or not, that's somewhere between 70 and 80% of the folks in the country cannot actually benefit from rooftop because of those different factors. So what community solar does is it lets multiple individuals, groups, or businesses co-own or subscribe to a local solar generating facility. That exists in 15 states and Washington, D.C. right now. There's also programs through the utility, through different utilities where you can subscribe to a solar field if you want to be part of it. And NV Energy is working on a subscription solar plan right now that they'll be submitting to the PUC. And Valley Electric and Lincoln County's electrical co-op both have subscription solar programs as we speak. So look for that, and I'm happy to talk to you about it more. Another issue that we just have to touch on really briefly is energy choice. This was question 3 on the ballot last election. 72% of Nevadans voted in support of this. In some districts, it was upwards of 80%. The key things in this initiative were that it would open up electricity markets so that all electricity consumers have meaningful choices and providers and are not forced to purchase from only one provider. This has to pass again in 2018, but there's nothing that says the legislature can't start working on this right now. An important piece of this initiative was the language in 3C, which says, nothing herein shall be construed to invalidate Nevada's public policies on renewable energy, energy efficiency, or environmental protection. So lots of work to do. And lots of opportunities. And Nevada, despite this potential restructuring of our market, is still open for business in clean energy investment and development that creates robust clean energy policies now to lay foundations for our fully restructured market by 2023. One other new piece of technology to talk about is energy storage. We all know about the Gigafactory, and we all know about Tesla, but energy storage is an old system which includes the dam. Hoover Dam is actually an energy storage system. So we've got a bill sitting right now to talk, Senate Bill 204, to talk about a study to figure out what the benefits of utility procurement of storage would be. And then finally, just because it's new and cool, here's a picture of Ta'u, an island in the Pacific that has been completely transformed from a diesel-dependent island to one powered solely by solar and storage, which is an amazing advancement, and it's incredible the technology that has advanced in clean energy and what opportunities now lay in front of us. So thank you all for your time today and for letting me run through a lot of stuff really quickly. I'm available for any questions if we have a moment, and I'm always available offline for questions.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. If you do want to ask questions, feel free to do so by typing it into the chat box on the bottom left corner of your screen or by pressing *7 on your phone to unmute your line. I know we're running a little over, so I just wanted to ask one question. If there were so many things discussed in the webinar today, if someone's interested in just one passion project and they want to get more involved, how do you think, what would be the best way for a business to get involved with Clean Energy Project?
Reach out to me. Just shoot me an email. Let me know what you're most interested in, and we will help set you up on understanding what the issue is, where you can be part of the discussion, and how you can move that passion project forward. And we love talking to small businesses. You guys really are the backbone of our economy, and we want to make sure your voice is heard on these issues.
Well, again, I want to thank you so much, Jennifer, and thank you to Clean Energy Project Nevada. We love working with you every year for Chamber U. So, again, if you do have any questions, her information is up on the slide right now, and we hope to see everyone or have everyone join us next week. We're going to be discussing effective recruitment strategies for your business. So, thanks again, and we will see you all next week.